While cooking in her kitchen, a woman encounters a bizarre incident. The eggs she had just bought are completely hollow inside. Thinking maybe it's just one bad egg, she presses another, but it crumbles like sand in her hand. When she checks the entire carton, she discovers every single egg is defective, breaking apart in the same strange way. But the oddities don't end there. Later that afternoon, while cleaning a window, she doesn't notice the wall behind her slowly creeping closer. In a matter of seconds, she's pinned so tightly she can barely move. Just as the pressure becomes unbearable, the wall inexplicably pulls back and returns to its original place. At first, she brushes it off, thinking she's just exhausted and imagining things. But when she resumes cleaning the window, she suddenly notices distinct pressure marks on her body, still clearly visible. Now she's shocked, realizing that what happened was real. Her mind flashes back to the first day she arrived in this place. All the neighbors were there, throwing a welcome party for her. Everyone was smiling, their faces radiating genuine warmth, except for one girl whose skin tone stood out. She seemed distressed, tense, and out of place. The girl asked, "What are we doing here?" Her question stunned everyone. They assumed she was just troubled, especially since this residential area is known as the happiest place in the world, meticulously built by a man named Frank through years of hard work. Whenever someone new arrives, Frank generously gifts them a sprawling villa and a luxury car. Not only that, he offers something even more enticing, a high-paying job with a six-figure salary. There are only 2 rules for living here. First, every couple must either be boyfriend and girlfriend or married. Second, no one is allowed to step foot in the northern desert. If anyone breaks these rules, they're on their own. Life here feels like a dream. Every morning after breakfast, the women stand outside their homes, waving goodbye to their husbands as they head to work. The women don't work jobs themselves. They just do light housework daily. Life in this community feels like a fairy tale. The neighborhood isn't large, but it lacks nothing. There's endless entertainment, free drinks, and even cake. Branded goods are so cheap they might as well be vegetables, allowing the women to shop to their heart's content without a second thought. But before sunset, everyone must attend the mandatory yoga class led by the community's matriarch, training twice to maintain their perfect fitness and keep their returning husbands happy. The girl with the distinct skin tone, however, was different. A month ago, she broke the rules by taking her son into the northern desert without permission. When the security guards searched for her, the boy was nowhere to be found. Only his favorite toy lay abandoned in the sand. After that day, the girl changed completely. She started telling everyone that everything in this place was fake, warning them to leave as soon as possible. No one listened. Instead, they whispered behind her back, saying she'd gone mad after losing her son. But these events were far from ordinary. Over the past few days, Alice had begun to suspect that things weren't as simple as they seemed. That afternoon, while folding clothes, Alice noticed a dark-skinned girl holding her son's toy, staring toward the desert. This sparked Alice's curiosity even further. She decided to sneak away without telling her husband Jack and head north to investigate. Strangely, as the bus approached the desert's edge, all the passengers gradually got off, leaving only Alice and the driver. When the bus reached the desert's boundary, a loud sound echoed from the sky. Alice looked up to see an airplane trailing thick smoke, its shape eerily identical to the toy the girl had been holding. Within seconds, the plane crashed behind a mountain. Shocked, Alice screamed and told the driver to stop the bus. She wanted him to go help, but the driver, trembling with fear, refused, saying the area was off-limits and he'd never driven there before. He warned her not to get involved. Alice didn't want to waste time arguing. Saving someone's life was more important. She grabbed her bag and jumped off the bus, running frantically toward the crash site. She ignored the danger signs posted around the area. But the strangest thing was that when she reached the spot where the plane had crashed, there was no trace of it. No wreckage, The deeper she ventured, the more desolate the surroundings became. Before she knew it, she found herself at the base of a small hill. At the top stood a peculiar circular structure that looked completely out of place. She figured this must be where the men went to work. To her surprise, it was just a simple crescent-shaped hut, not at all like a corporate office. There wasn't a soul in sight. The strange structure only deepened her fear. What did people do here? She noticed a glass panel that looked like a door. Hesitantly, she reached out to see if it would open, but the moment she touched it, a red light flashed and she collapsed unconscious. She had no memory of how she got home. Suddenly, she heard a noise outside. Peering out, she saw Jack quietly preparing food in the kitchen, avoiding her gaze as if hiding something. Cutting through his small talk, Alice demanded to know how she got home. Jack simply said that when he returned she was already in their room fast asleep. Not wanting to disturb her, he let her rest. Since he didn't seem to be hiding anything, Alice told him everything that had happened. Jack reassured her it was probably just a bad dream. The next morning, Alice went about her usual chores. Then the house phone rang. It was the girl with the distinct skin tone. "Oh, did you go out there? Did you see it? They're cheating us. I can't talk much now, but we need to get out of here as fast as possible." "I'm not crazy." Alice trusted her instincts, even though everything felt surreal. She had no solid proof and part of her hoped she'd forget it all. But that evening during yoga class, something bizarre happened again. Startled, Alice glanced in the mirror and saw not her own face but the face of another girl. In the next instant, that girl violently smashed her head against the mirror. Alice screamed in terror. When she turned around, everyone was staring at her strangely. The girl with the distinct skin tone was gone, and the mirror was perfectly intact. Alice felt like she was losing her mind. As soon as the class ended, she rushed to the girl's house to get answers. But when she arrived, she was horrified. The girl was standing on the roof holding a knife. When someone called her name, she slowly turned and without a word, plunged the knife into her own neck. Alice ran toward her to see what had happened, but two security guards in red uniforms appeared out of nowhere and forcibly pulled her away. That night, terrified, Alice told Jack everything. But Jack remained eerily calm, saying the girl probably just fell from the roof due to stress and would be fine with a few stitches. This time Alice couldn't believe him. She had seen the girl stab herself. She kept asking Jack where he went every day and why, suspecting the other women in the community were also clueless about the mysterious company. Jack brushed it off, saying it was a company secret he couldn't share. Over time he grew frustrated with her questions. He was on the verge of a promotion with a salary increase and success within reach. He feared Alice's suspicions could jeopardize his job. Though they loved each other deeply, this sparked their first major fight. That night, Alice had a terrifying dream. She saw herself sinking into a deep ocean, drowning as she struggled to breathe. She woke up gasping, the dream giving her a new sense of clarity. The next morning, she waved Jack off to work as usual, but while wrapping food, she felt her mind slipping out of control. Suddenly, she began wrapping her head tightly with the plastic wrap, suffocating herself. In a panic, she clawed at it like a frightened child, managing to tear a small piece and save herself just before passing out. The suffocating fear felt so real that she was now convinced everything she'd experienced was true. Jack, noticing her distress, called a doctor for a house visit over the weekend for a full checkup. The doctor immediately launched into medical jargon, insisting that what Alice was seeing was just hallucinations. But Alice, who had studied medicine, saw through his nonsense. As the doctor bent to retrieve a pen from his bag, Alice glimpsed a medical record stating that the girl wasn't a patient but a prisoner. While Jack and the doctor talked outside, Alice secretly opened the doctor's file, hoping to steal the record. But all the details were blacked out. This only strengthened her suspicions about the girl. Days later, Jack got his promotion and Frank threw a lavish party. Alice dressed up but felt suffocated in the crowd. Unable to cope, she hid in the bathroom. Her best friend, noticing her distress, asked what was wrong. Unable to hold back, Alice spilled everything, confessing her suspicion that the girl had uncovered a dark secret about the place and was eliminated to keep it hidden. She tried convincing her friend to join her in investigating the northern desert, but her friend called her and the other girl crazy, storming off in anger. Unbeknownst to Alice, her best friend was actually a spy planted by Frank. The next evening, Jack invited colleagues and neighbors for dinner. While everyone was laughing and chatting, Frank quietly entered the kitchen. He made small talk with Alice, then suddenly turned serious, mentioning her hallucinations. To her shock, he admitted her suspicions were correct. "Oh God, you've driven me crazy," he said. "I always wanted someone who could challenge me." At dinner, Alice, no longer holding back, sat in Jack's seat across from Frank and began questioning the other couples directly. Their answers were eerily similar. All were from Philadelphia, all had met their husbands on a train, and all had last visited their hometowns in March of the previous year. To Alice, this was no coincidence, it was suspicious. Looking straight at Frank, she demanded, "Is your company really clean, or have you altered everyone's memories to keep them trapped here?" The room fell silent, tension thick in the air. Everything seemed perfect on the surface, but Frank was prepared. He calmly announced to everyone that Alice, like the other girl, was suffering from severe mental issues and needed immediate hospitalization. The others, already swayed by Frank, dismissed Alice's claims. The joyful party turned sour. Jack was furious, fearing his years of hard work and promotion were at risk. That night, Alice no longer cared about Jack's promotion. Her only goal was to escape this terrifying place, and she wanted to take Jack with her because she still loved him. At first Jack refused, but seeing her broken state, he relented. They packed their bags and got into the car, but when Jack grabbed the steering wheel, he refused to start the engine, apologizing repeatedly. 2 security guards appeared, forcibly pulling them out. Alice realized Jack had chosen his career over her. The guards took her to a hospital to erase her memories permanently. Just as the surgery was about to begin, an electric shock jolted her and her old memories flooded back. She remembered being a top surgeon with a staggering salary, while Jack did nothing but play video games all day. This truth shattered her and she began to hate him. Alice now understood that Jack was a man obsessed with control in the real world, where he was a failure. He had stumbled upon an online ad for a virtual community promising a perfect life. Without hesitation, he signed up. In this virtual world, he drove a supercar, lived in a luxury villa, and had a wife who always obeyed him lovingly. This perfect life attracted many losers from the real world. In reality, these men did no work. They climbed the hill to the office building to log out of the system, returning to the real world to give their sick wives food and water to keep them alive. At night, they logged back in, pretending to return from a hard day's work. Alice still didn't fully know who Jack was. Though her memories briefly returned, the operation erased them again, resetting her mind like a new phone. She was back in the fake life Jack had designed for her, waving him off to work each morning, cleaning the house, drinking tea, and living like a wealthy wife. But Jack's victory was short-lived. One day, as he hummed his favorite song from the real world, Alice felt a strange sensation. The melody triggered flashes of her suppressed memories, old photos, moments, and the truth she couldn't accept. Jack had trapped her in this fake world. Jack felt no guilt, believing he was doing the right thing. Furious, Alice confronted him. "You talk about work all day, but I loved my job. I was happy and you took it all away. This is my life. Stop controlling it." Jack shouted back, "I gave you a perfect life, everything you could want. I go out every day to earn money to keep this world running. All you have to do is stay here and be happy." But Alice had lost all hope. Jack, desperate to fix things, fell to his knees, but Alice knew it was all a lie. She couldn't let herself be trapped any longer. When Jack grabbed her tightly, refusing to let go, she fought back with all her strength. His grip didn't budge. In a moment of desperation, she grabbed a nearby glass and smashed it over his head with too much force. Jack died instantly. Hearing the noise, her best friend rushed in, quickly covering the body with a sheet. "Hurry," she said. "Get to the hill and log out of the system. If someone dies here, they die in the real world too. If a client dies, Frank won't stop until he catches you." Alice, now fully aware of the truth, was exhausted by the cruelty of this fake world and determined to escape. But Jack's death triggered a system-wide alert. Frank sent a large security team to stop her. Her best friend urged her to run. Covered in blood, Alice fled the house. As her memories returned, the virtual world began to glitch. The other men grew terrified, sensing something was deeply wrong. Alice stole Jack's car and sped off, but his closest friend jumped in front of her to block her path. Her best friend arrived just in time, pulling Alice into the car. As they raced toward the northern desert, security guards pursued them, shouting angrily, blaming Alice for ruining their perfect lives. She floored the gas pedal, heading for the company's main gate, now just steps away. The doctor's car, speeding alongside the security vehicles, surrounded her. With no options left, Alice slammed on the brakes. The security cars crashed into each other, and the doctor's car sent them flying in a fiery explosion. The news of the doctor's death reached Frank, who realized the community was unraveling. As he turned to act, his own wife stabbed him from behind. Alice's rebellion had awakened the other women, who began to see the truth. Alice, driving full speed toward the hill, suddenly found her car stuck. With time running out, she abandoned it and climbed on foot. The guards chased her like a swarm of spiders, but she didn't stop. Just one step ahead, she reached the system's exit gate and escaped the fake virtual world forever.